Welcome back to the NFA Review channel. I'm Adam Johnson, and this is the Oss Hxqd 762, or to put it simply, the Hxqd 762. So speaking of simplifying things, that's exactly what Oss has been trying to do lately. About 2 years ago, they were bought out, so during the acquisition, they restructured the company and the product lineup. So their new suppressors look nothing like the old can. Many of you are already familiar with their old product lineup. In fact, I've already done a review on my YouTube channel if you want to go check out that older video. And they have also been at pretty much every public shooting event that I've ever hosted. So many of you have a lot of hands-on time with their products. But this is their newest product, and we're going to cover it today. As soon as we get done with the specs here in the studio, we're going to shoot out to the range, pun intended, and we're going to have some fun. Let's go ahead and get to it. Open the box here. We have a manual on top. Okay, pretty simple diagrams in there, and the suppressor itself, and that is it. There are no takedown tools because you don't need them. Even though it is a QD can, you do not need those. Let's go ahead and put all this to the side, and let's get right down to the specifications. It comes in at an overall length of 7.2 inches, a diameter of 1.6 inches, and a weight of 19.3 ounces. The outer tube here is all fully welded, and it is constructed of 17.4 stainless steel with a nice, looks like I would say a flat finish here of the Type C Cerakote. So that's going to be a high temperature coating on that. The baffle stack itself is a combination of 17.4 heat treated stainless steel and grade 5 titanium. She is full auto rated with 7.62 by 51 millimeters. So you can shoot full auto 308 through this suppressor here. So obviously 5.56 is going to be cool to use as well. It also, I believe, is rated up to 300 Wynn mag. So multiple calibers, full auto rated, pretty high-end materials here, and a decibel range of 133 to 139 depending on the host, barrel length, and caliber you're shooting. And those are measured at the ear. So what does that tell you right away? This is a low pressure can. I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video the restructuring process that Oss went through. Well, one of them is to create a very high quality can that's more affordable and is as precision built as possible. Each one of these that leaves the factory has been tested, so it's been test fired before it's put in the box. I did notice that right away. Mine was factory sealed with a little the security tape here, and when I looked in it, I could tell that it had been fired. So I actually called up Oss to verify that, and that's when I found out that they're all test fired. So what are they test fired for? Well, they're test fired for function, point of impact shift, and accuracy. So they have to meet certain parameters before they'll let the suppressor go out the door to your dealer or distributor. So pretty cool. I'm sure they're not the only ones that do it, but it's been a while since I popped open a box and actually saw a little bit of, remnants of gunpowder in the blast chamber and stuff like that. So that was pretty nice to know. Speaking of the blast chamber, let's go ahead and dive right into the mounting system. So again, I know I'm repeating myself here. When they restructured the company, they also wanted to add a QD mount system to the suppressors because, as you know, up until this point, Oss has always been a direct thread system that uses the gas flow of the suppressor to maintain a tight purchase on the threads. Well, they kind of built upon that technology. So you still want the ability, okay, let me grab these, to have a mountable flash hider or brake at the end of your gun. Instead of just being able to take the suppressor off and have exposed threads. So this way your threads are protected and you can shoot it unsuppressed and not have to worry about it. They reached out to a lot of the elite military units on, mounting systems. They did a lot of research. They looked at their competitors to see what they've been doing, and they wholeheartedly admitted that their competitors' mounts are pretty awesome too. One of my personal favorites is Dead Air. Really great mount. But they wanted to go to a mechanical-less mount, meaning no latches, no springs, no collars, nothing to wear out. No teeth to wear out, nothing. So I'll go ahead and open up this 762 because we'll be using it later to use as a visual aid. So looking at the brake itself, you see that there is a taper mount surface here at the beginning of the Acme threads. So that is going to correspond with the taper surface on the inside of the suppressor in the blast chamber. So as you throw it down and the threads engage in the can and pull on the threads, the Acme threads here on the mount, those two taper surfaces are going to lock onto each other. A lot of companies already use that already. I don't need to explain all of them that do. It's nothing new. There's nothing groundbreaking there. What is groundbreaking is that their suppressor, because it has the flow-through technology in it, is actually, I guess you can say, the mechanical lock, if that makes any sense. So without anything to wear out, without any spring, latch, collar, the venting here on the face of the suppressor is angled in a way so when the gas escapes, it is actually rotating the can on and keeping it tight at all times. So this does a couple things. One, it's going to be cheaper to manufacture. They can pass the savings on to you. And two, there's nothing to wear out. And three, you're not going to have any buildup issues. They do have some photos or documentation on their website during their CSAS test and SOCOM test. I'll touch base on that in a second, where they had a really beat up suppressor and mount, and back here where the taper starts, it was completely clean, meaning you're not going to get any copper fouling and lead fouling and carbon fouling binding up this mount, making it impossible to remove. If it somehow built up or it got too tight or expanded weird, they do have wrench flats at the base of the can here if you wanted to either put it on really tight or to aid you in removing it when the can's, 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. You're definitely going to want to use that. This is a left-hand thread suppressor. Now you're probably wondering, why do they go with left-hand threads? Well, if you think about what's going on here, you want left-hand threads because the suppressor's turning one way, right, to keep tight on the mount, which means it has to spin this way. And if you go to remove the can from your barrel, you don't want the threads attaching the mount to your host gun to come loose. So it's designed to where the mount won't come off the gun, and it's designed that the suppressor stays on during firing. Does that make any sense? Hope I didn't lose you. Pretty neat little setup here. I'm really glad that that's what they went with. It's just really simple, lighter, easier to manufacture. So now we have the mount covered, let's move on to serviceability. So there's some information out there that you probably don't need to service rifle cans. I don't service mine really. I just service the mount area with maybe like a wire brush or something like that. But their can is serviceable. Now it's not, you can't take it down like a pistol suppressor or rimfire can. But what you can do is soak the can overnight in a bath, like a solvent bath, take it out, dry it off, and then you can shoot it clean. Because remember, this has their flow-through technology. So it's very low back pressure suppressor, so all that gunk and fallout from all the carbon will shoot out the front of the suppressor. Me, personally, I'm not going to waste my time to clean it. I'll just make sure that the threads here are clean. They're probably going to stay clean because during their testing, it didn't leak at all between the two interfaces, so shouldn't have a problem there. But it is, yours are serviceable if that's something you want to do. All right, moving on. This can smoked the CSAS test and smoked the SOCOM durability test, the stress test. So I don't know if you guys have any idea what's involved there, but you're talking a hell of a lot of gunfire out of one can with very strict parameters it has to meet. Can't go over a certain decibel rating. It can't malfunction the gun that it's on. It can't have certain point of impact shift, yada, yada, yada. So it smoked both of those, and a lot of other suppressors failed. So the military will be using this. I know HK is adopting this for their 308 platform, so that says something there. So I hope that kind of shines some light on this new product. Really like the design here. The welds are just beautifully done. I love the venting. You have the lock and unlock button engraved here. You have the information here. Just really clean, very clean looking suppressor. much cooler looking than their older design. A lot of people didn't like the old hexagonal look with the multiple pieces that you had to go together. This is just a set it, forget it type product. So what I want to do is grab a couple hosts and bring them out to the range. So we're going to shoot 7.62 and 5.56, and I want to see if this will run really well on my belt-fed upper. That upper, you know, even though it is gas adjustable, if you put a really corked up suppressor on there, it's going to overrun the hell out of the gun. So I have a feeling that, notwithstanding the bore aperture size, so you're going to shoot a 5.56 through 7.62, so that already is going to lower the back pressure, but then you can add their flow-through technology on top of that. It's probably going to run really, really good. So I'm pretty curious myself because I have not shot the suppressor yet. So without further ado, let's go ahead, pack up, and hit that range.
This is AJ. AJ's a Patreon supporter. All right, buddy. Lock and load. It's his first time shooting a belt fed. This should be interesting. right, everyone, I hope you thoroughly enjoyed today's video. I must say, for a suppressor company who's known more for their low back pressure suppressors more than sound suppression levels, this thing did excellent today. And it's a lot less complicated, as I mentioned earlier in the studio. If any of you are familiar with the older cans, especially if you watched my first review I did for them, you know, a lot going on there. You had the mount, then you had the core sliding in with the sleeve that went on top, really complicated, and the can wasn't as quiet as this one is. So this, you just have a mount and a suppressor like a typical QD can. Starting from the top, AK-47. I'm not a big AK fan. That's actually my first 7.62x39 AK. The AK guy built that for me. It's number 7 of 47. It's a limited run that he did. Beautiful done, beautiful finish on it. That thing is a thumper shooting unsuppressed. And shooting suppressed as a shooter, when I say it's comfortable to shoot, I mean it is comfortable to shoot. I would have no qualms without foamies in shooting a rifle round. Now, when I normally shoot suppressed rifles, I still throw the foamies in because the back pressure, obviously is a bad example, it's a bolt gun, but the back pressure when you're shooting coming out of the ejection port starts to, you know, irritate my right ear after a while, and I'm sure it's causing damage. Not the case here. Through all that sound, through all these vents and everything, downrange towards the target. Very enjoyable to shoot. As far as malfunctioning issues, zilch. We didn't have a single stoppage today, which is pretty amazing. Usually I have some sort of teething issues with gas systems or piston systems or recoil springs or some kind of bull crap. Today, it ran 100%. When we were shooting the downrange scenes, okay, from 50 yards away, you'll probably see me every 5 rounds I was tightening the suppressor on the AK. And that's because I goofed up today and I didn't bring a crescent wrench to tighten this down snug. And when we were moving the cans around, it got so hot, you know, your on can time was really short. So I couldn't like wrench it on. I had to just use a cold tack suppressor cover and just get it as tight as I could and then take it off before I burned my hands to hell. So that was an oversight on my part. If I had a wrench, I could have snugged it a little better, but it was rotating a little bit during those 5-round strings with the AK. The belt fed, I left it on the unsuppressed setting, and then I put the suppressor on in that scene. I never moved it. That gas setting was never changed, and it didn't change the rate of fire that I can recall. It might have sped it up a little bit, but the gun didn't malfunction at all. One of my Patreon supporters is here today, AJ. He came to help film. This is something I might try to do once I hit 100 patrons, is maybe randomly choose one local patron a month to come out and just help film behind the scenes, have some fun, go out for a beer afterwards. It was his first time shooting a belt fed, and off camera when we were done, he's like, hey man, I didn't get any gas to the face. Now we can attribute that to that fight light being a piston driven upper, but you know, there was no cloud of gas surrounding the shooter or anything that you would normally have. So didn't overrun the AK and did not overrun the belt fed. The recoil impulse was nice and linear. Now, the Remington 700. As you probably are gonna see right now, I'm gonna go ahead and show it. So we shot, you know, the profile views, guys. We shot the downrange views. I wanted to do something different today. They claimed that through their testing and for the government requirements for this platform, they had to have minimal and repeatable point of impact shift. This thing only shifted 1/2 inch down. That's it. To me, that's a lot easier to overcome than a shift to the left or to the right. Now, that is this host, so that is dependent on the barrel harmonics and whip of this Remington 700 and this stock shooting that ammo, you know what I'm saying? But it was repeatable, and the group did not open up at all. So that impressed me a lot. So yeah, I guess that pretty much covers it. I'm gonna go ahead and say a grand slam here. So congratulations to OSS for finally simplifying these things down. So you have a lot of the crazy stuff going on inside, but we don't get to screw around with that anymore. Put it on there and just expect the black magic, okay? This thing works, and it works very well. So again, hope you guys enjoyed today's review. Big shout out to Hxqd.com. I forgot the tent stakes. You're supposed to put the tent stakes in their new design bases.
Dead center of the O's. bitch over.
Dead center of the O's.
And we were slamming it with the 168 grain projectiles with this thing. I think on what was it, round two? Round two, it just boom. So next time I'll bring the stakes, but a lot of energy being transferred to that stand. Pretty cool design when you do bring the tent stakes for the base. But yeah, stay tuned for the announcement on Suppress Fest 2018. I'm going to be announcing it soon once my 30-day ban on Facebook is over for giving away some silencers. That's why I'm moving all my suppressor and gift card giveaways over to my Patreon account to hook up all my patrons. 2 reasons. 1, they support the channel, and 2, Facebook sucks. So thanks again for watching, guys. Until next time, click that like button, click that subscribe button, check that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.